everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Medita, and today I thought I'd show you all of my 5-star reads of 2022. So I read 287 books in 2020, which is a lot. Okay, I know. I'm aware I have a problem and I need to fix that problem. Why do you think I'm in therapy right now? Like, I'm trying to fix this. I'm trying to fix my obsession. And even though I read that many books, I only have 13 5-star reads. Le gasp, I know. And I definitely recommend you all to read these. These are amazing books. I love them all. They're interesting. They're good. Yes, just read them, okay? Like, is this me forcing you to read these books? Yes, this is indeed. Some of these books are from series, so I'm gonna show you the rest of the books from the series too, just so you kind of understand why this and this is my favorite. If you've read any of them, please let me know what you think about them, and also let me know your 5-star reads, because I need some good book recommendations for this year. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say, and I can just get started with showing you my favorites. Number 1 is very easy. This is also my last 5-star read of the year, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This thriller mystery book is definitely the reason I am now going to be reading so many thrillers this year, because I was hooked from the beginning. The mystery was amazing, the detail was amazing, the writing was great, and there was never a time in this book where I was bored, aka no fillers. In this book, Pippa is basically investigating this case that was solved 5 years ago, in which Andy Bell was killed. Basically, 5 years ago, people said that Sal Singh, Andy Bell's boyfriend, killed Andy. But Pippa does not believe this. Pippa thinks that Sal is innocent, and she is about to prove his innocence and tries to find out who the actual killer is. And over the course of this book then, she finds out so much. Like, secrets, le gasp, le gasp, le gasp, le gasp. I was shocked. And Pippa also has a partner in crime, even though she's the main detective, okay? And that is Ravi Singh, Sal Singh's younger brother. And together, they try to prove his innocence. And yeah, as I said, lots of other mysteries are revealed at the same time. And it gets intense and scary and dark, and I cried a couple of times. But that could be because I'm very emotional. I don't know how I didn't read this earlier. This is so good, you need to read this. And then my next 5-star read is also in the series, and that is Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Technically, I think you can stop after this one, but there's a lot of unsolved mysteries still that don't have to do with the main case of this book that gets solved in this, and then we get even more secrets revealed and even more big bad people. Wow. Okay, shocked the entire time. Basically, in Good Girl, Bad Blood, Pippa goes on to her second case, and this is about a missing person, since somebody that is close to her goes missing. And then first she's like, oh, I don't want to investigate, but then she goes because nobody is doing anything. And over the course of the book then, Pippa unpacks her inner Nancy Drew again, and she is just catching all the bad guys, and you absolutely love it. I was rooting for her, I was rooting for her happiness. And then there's Ravi. I had difficulties not falling in love with him in this book. Sadly, I did fall in love, so now I have another fictional boyfriend. This book also gets pretty dark in the end, which I did not expect at all, because a really, really big plot twist happens in the end, which again, I did not see coming. And I cried yet again. A lot. I also cried in this book because a character in this book is very relatable to me. Because guess who has issues and goes to therapy because of them? Me. And guess which issues are mentioned in that book then? Those issues. So I was bawling my eyes out. The third book in that series is called As Good as Dead. I gave this book, I think, 4 stars or 3.5 stars. This wasn't my favorite out of the series, but this is also the darkest book in the series, and I cried the most in this one. Since 2 of them are 5-star reads, I recommend you to read this trilogy. It's so good. You will fall in love with all these characters, and you want them all to be happy. This book is great to let out your emotions, and just a great thriller mystery to get into thrillers. My next 5-star book was read in January, and that is This Woven Kingdom by the one, the only Tahereh Mafi. We all know Tahereh Mafi wrote the Shatter Me series, which is my comfort series. I know there's some cringy lines in there, but I don't care. It gives me so much comfort and warmth. And this book is by the same author, but it's so different than Shatter Me. If you didn't like the writing style in Shatter Me, you should definitely try to read this book. It has a way more magical writing style, and it's definitely imaginative, more creative, and I think more beautiful as well. This has a lot of inspiration by Persian mythology. I think that made the world building so pretty, and overall gave this book such an amazing vibe. I know I hate the word vibe, but the vibes were just there, okay? Like, they were there. There's still a lot of confusion about who the love interest is going to be, but if you like the entire fun family dynamic and just a friend group in general that also can let out a few jokes, aka Kenji from Shatter Me, then you should pick this up, because there is also some really funny dialogues in this book. I still haven't told you what it's about. So this Wolven Kingdom is about Alize and Cameron. Alize is the main character and she's a servant and she is very invisible. Everybody thinks she's not that great. Nobody really cares about her, but that's because nobody knows that she is secretly the heir to a long lost kingdom. I know, right? Shocker. But guess who kind of figures that she's important because of a prophecy? Cameron, aka the crown prince to the kingdom, who has heard that the king is going to die. He's a bit confused because he's like, how the heck did I not know that the girl I've been looking at a bit more because I think she's kind of cute would now uproot my kingdom? How did I not know this? So we have a little bit of a fighting kingdom story with a forbidden romance plotline, and there are some riddles in here too and some mystery and a great plot twist, and the ending is like open right now because we obviously have a sequel coming up and I need the sequel right now because the ending shocked me and I need to know what's happening right now. So definitely read this book if you want to have another magical story with a bit of a forbidden romance. Now we have my favorite book of this year, and this is definitely now one of my top 5 reads ever, just because of the relatability and the way that it made me travel back into the past and then bawl my eyes out, because that's what this book did. And that is When You Were Everything by Ashley Woodfolk. This is not a romance story. This is a story about friendships and losing your best friend, basically. If you have ever lost a friend, your best friend or anything like that in a bad way, maybe even by not just growing apart, but something going down, maybe a fight or something like this, then this is the book for you. So this book is made up of past versus present moments. In the present, they're already not friends anymore, and you don't really know why they're not friends anymore in the beginning, but then when you go through the past moments, you slowly start getting the little hints to why they stopped being friends, and you see the little signs that are kind of like foreshadowing, where you kind of go, oh yeah, I know they're not going to be friends again in the future. I was bawling my eyes out. I could not stop crying. I felt so much pain for both of the main characters, obviously, but I also understood some of the emotions they were feeling, the jealousy, the anger, because losing a friend is not fun, okay? It hurts. Cleo and Layla were best friends for multiple years. Now they're not friends anymore, and Cleo is trying to erase all the past memories she has with Layla and is trying to replace them with like beautiful new memories with new friends. Over the course of the book, Cleo realizes that she cannot really pretend that Layla doesn't exist. For one, because she is her tutor and because they go to the same school. And yeah, over the course of this book, you just go through so much pain with Cleo. You see her perspective on what it's like to lose a friend. She definitely realizes that she's made a lot of mistakes too. You learn a lot from this book. There's amazing parent-daughter relationships in here too, with advice giving and learning and forgiveness. It's a great story. I also just want to read to you all the dedication really quickly because it's very beautiful. To all the girls who broke my heart, losing you wounded me, probably more than you know. If I hurt you just as deeply, I'm sorry. And I want you to know that our friendship meant something to me. It always will. And to all the girls who feel left behind, forgotten, forsaken by a friendship that wasn't supposed to be tenuous, by a person who wasn't supposed to be impermanent, the hurt will always be there, but it gets better, I promise. And that's just so beautiful in my opinion. I could start crying right now. Definitely recommend this to everyone. The next book is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. Also, please ignore that they're all from a different edition. I know it's ugly. It looks horrible on my shelf. Like, look at this. That is literally so sad. I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone. I am aware this is bad. My favorite book, as I just said, is Legendary. I gave Caraval 4 stars, and I'm pretty sure Finale was 3.5. But Legendary is iconic. 1, because this is about Donatella, Jax, and Dante. And 2, because the fashion, world building, clothing, and beautiful writing style make this book an amazing story that you get hooked on from the beginning. So to give you a bit of a backstory of what Legendary is about, I have to tell you about Caraval, because it's obviously a trilogy, and I don't really want to spoil Legendary for you. But just know that this story is about 2 sisters. Scarlett is the main character in this book, but Donatella is the main character in Legendary. But yeah, Caraval is about this circus/performance that comes once every year. It's a week-long performance where there's a lot of mystery and you have to get invited to go there. Scarlett gets an invitation to go there with Donatella. But then Donatella gets kidnapped by the leader of this like circus, and she now has to solve the riddle of the circus of this week's game to get her sister back. The adventures are super cool. If you like Alice in Wonderland or just overall the magic vibe with lots of secretive, colorful things, this is for you. You also in the end find out who Legend actually is, and there's a lot more going on than you think. And the final battle and finale, I was scared. I was absolutely terrified. The romance is also really cute with a bit of a forced proximity. And this book has My favorite romance, there's a lot of tension. Some great kissing scenes. It was great. I absolutely love this book, so that's why this is my favorite. There's obviously also the spin-off series now with Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is about a character in the series, but I don't want to tell you all too much. I just want to tell you that you need to read this if you like circus, riddles, mystery, and a really cute romance. The next book I have here is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, and this is a gay romance story with a mystery plot line, a found family / great friend group, and transgender representation. And I absolutely loved this story. The writing was beautiful, and I teared up quite a bit in this book. So Yadriel is the main character, who is a transgender boy, and he is trying to get his family to accept that he is transgender, and they still mess up quite a bit, and he's obviously very hurt by it. So to prove to his family that Yadriel is actually a man and that he can do what every other man does in his family, he wants to help them all find out what happened to their cousin Miguel, who was murdered. But he by accident then summons a ghost, and that ghost is Julian, aka the residential bad boy of the school, who is shockingly dead. Julian doesn't know why he's dead, Yadriel doesn't know why he's dead, and Maritza, his cousin, doesn't know why he's dead either. So over the course of the book, we're trying to find out what happened to Yadriel's cousin Miguel and why he's dead and where his body is. But we're also trying to find out what happened to Julian and why he is dead and why he doesn't remember anything. And then at the same time, Yadriel also gets really attached to Julian. They form a bond, and he doesn't really want to let him go afterwards, but he's obviously dead. He's a ghost. So how can that all work together? You're gonna find out while reading this book, and it's just such a beautifully written story. I think the transgender storyline is probably one of my favorites in here, just because we go through a lot of really beautiful emotional scenes where Yadriel does something that he's never done before to prove that he's a man. I also heard that there's a sequel coming out, so we're definitely gonna be reading that because I want to know more about all the other side characters, because I need to know everything. And let's not even talk about the plot twist, because I was shocked, le gasp, my jaw was on the floor, did not expect this at all. Definitely read Cemetery Boys if you want a book about a great character that is growing and becoming stronger throughout this book, who's trying to prove himself with a bit of a culture aspect. Read this. Then I have another fantasy book that is called The Rose and the Dagger. This is the sequel to The Wrath and the Dawn. I know I yet again don't have the same covers for both books. Please don't point it out. I'm aware. The Wrath and Dawn to me was a 4-star read, but The Rose and the Dagger, 5 stars. I got so emotional. I was bawling my eyes out. I was not doing well. The Wrath and Dawn is about this kingdom called Khorasan. There, the Caliph of Khorasan, aka Khalid, somehow kills every single one of his wives, like after the first night. And you're like, whoa, brutal man, why are you doing this? Why are you hurting so many women? And then we meet Shahrazad, and she's trying to get revenge on Khalid because Khalid, her cousin, and she's like, I won't allow this. Let me volunteer to be your bride so I can you, because I need revenge for you hurting my family. Yet something else happens. Somehow Shahrazad survives the first night, where usually all the other wives are killed. Shocking, right? You want to know why? Because Shahrazad keeps telling these amazing mystical stories to Khalid, and he keeps wanting to hear more and more. And over the course of the book then, Khalid gets more and more mesmerized with her storytelling, and secrets are revealed, bonds are formed, friendships are made, and we discover what the bad storyline is, who the evil guys are, and lots of plot twists, and you're gonna be shocked. Great storyline in my opinion. I love the world. The enemies to lovers forbidden romance is so cute. And yeah, in the second book, then the story just continues basically with a great plot twist at the end of book 1. We have some great character building, we have some fighting scenes, and then we obviously have some really sad scenes where I then cried my eyes out. Beautiful writing. Read this. The next 5-star book that I read this year is Skin of the Sea, and this is a mermaid story that has a bit of inspiration from the actual fairy tale of The Little Mermaid, not the Disney movie. And it's just so good, especially with the culture aspect. So this book is about Simi, who is a Mamiwata, aka a mermaid, who helps the souls of people who die at sea descend to the afterlife. But she does a great, bad, evil thing that she's not supposed to do, and that is saving a boy's life. Lo gasp, I don't really understand how that's bad to save someone's life, but whatever. Apparently it is. So she broke the rules because she is not allowed to save anybody. And she's trying to make amends with the Supreme Creator because she just brought a lot of dangers to the seas, to the safe waters. And we just follow Simi on this journey to find the Supreme Creator. And we have some fun family in here, some great friendships, a little bit of a romance, not a lot. I would say the adventures in this book are amazing. I think the storytelling is absolutely amazing. Simi is a bejeweled girl. I mean, her tail is literally golden. I got emotional. I just love mermaids, and this is a great mermaid story. Then I read in January this year the Heartstopper Volume 4 book, which is obviously a graphic novel, and it was a 5-star. I absolutely love the Heartstopper series. I have all 4 books here with me. The art in here is absolutely amazing. It's not only cute, it also gets emotional, and it's very relatable. You understand some of the issues they go through, but I think they're just fun stories that tackle some pretty serious topics, and I think you should definitely read these. These are obviously about Nick and Charlie, their discovery to their relationship, how they go through different issues together. We also tackle subjects like eating disorder in here and going to a clinic for it, which is very relatable to me. So I think you should definitely try to read this if you haven't. Then I obviously have here The Inheritance Games. I was hooked from the beginning. I love Avery, I love Xander, I love Nash. I love Libby, I love Jameson, I love Grayson. The characters in this book were amazing. I was so excited to solve the riddles in this book and go on this little adventure hunting Nancy Drew storyline with them. And yeah, I was invested. I was rooting for the characters. I think one of my favorite parts is just how correlated and connected all these books are, because you get some secrets revealed in book 3 that were already mentioned in book 1, which just shows you how planned out the series is, which is just amazing in my opinion. The Hawthorne Legacy was a 4-star for me, and sadly the final Gambit was not my favorite. I think this book was a bit unnecessary, and I'm also aware that I have the ugly British covers with this and the beautiful one for the 3rd book. Again, don't comment on it please, because I don't know why this happened and I hate it too. The Inheritance Games is about Avery, who inherits billions of dollars from this strange old man she has never met before in her entire life, and she's like, what the heck? Why am I getting this money? I'm confused. I don't even know you. And to get all this money, she basically has to stay in the Hawthorne house for 1 year. And there she obviously meets the 4 Hawthorne brothers, as I already said. Avery is not just gonna sit there and take the money. She says, let me actually find out why I'm getting all this money. Because I know you like riddles, and I know you left me a little hint. And yeah, over the course of the book, Avery obviously tries to find out why she got this money. So many secrets are yet again revealed. We get so many plot twists, so many shocking little gasp moments. I was not doing well. My jaw was on the floor 24/7. There was enough tension in here to keep me going the entire time. I never wanted to put the book down. I wanted to continue reading the entire time because I just wanted to find out what happened. There were so many secrets and I needed to know all the answers. So if you like secrets, if you like mysteries, you should definitely read this book. Then I have 2 5-star reads from Libby Blake, and these are the Fairy Tale Collections Volume 1 and Volume 2. I have not read Volume 3 yet. I know, don't come for me, I'm sorry. But I have indeed read The Fairy Tales of the Macaw and Midsummer Night Dreams. Both of these books are made up of short stories that are fairy tales, obviously, and inspired by fairy tales in different collections. The 3rd one is with the Grimm brothers and inspiration from the Grimm stories. And I think they're absolutely beautiful, magical stories, but I still think that they're very detailed and very interesting. And the characters are very descriptive for how short the stories are, which is kind of impressive, honestly. So book 1 has the short stories Pins and Needles, which is very gothic dark in my opinion and a bit gruesome. The ending is gonna shock you of Pins and Needles. Then we have the Animations Games, which is the longest story in book 1. The romance in there was great. The obsession with like hunting down and getting revenge was so good. I was amazed. It was also just beautifully written. The way the story kept going and repeating itself, but always somehow in a different way, was impressive. I loved this story so much. That's my favorite one from this entire book. Then we have Fates and Consequences, and it's basically about a guy who's in hell and he's not supposed to be there, and then he does some things, and yeah, fates and consequences. So it's pretty interesting, honestly. I kind of liked it. There's some betrayal in there too, which is pretty good. Then we have Sensual Tales for Carnal Pleasures, which is about resisting basically, and this magical world where you can see things, but you're trying to be like, no, 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 no. Let me resist this. Even though I kind of want it, let me resist. Those are the 4 short stories in this book. And then in Midsummer Night Dreams, we have The Wish Bridge, which is yet again a really cute story with a bit of romance, some very nice and interesting characters. We have some magic aspects, some afterlife aspects, and it's just very good. Then we have Avalon, which is honestly the most confusing story in this entire book. I was intrigued. I had to reread some sentences because I was like, wait, what? And then I had to rethink and I was like, oh! Then we have The 12 Huntsmen, which is yet again a very interesting story in my opinion. We have a bit of romance in there, a competition with hunting, some mystery about the kingdoms. Very good in my opinion. There's a lion in there too, which was definitely to me a Narnia flashback, and I love Narnia. So that was just great. And then we have How to Dispel Friends and Cursed People, which is made up of different poems in my opinion, and it's just very interesting how this was written. I was very intrigued by the story and the writing is very pretty. And then we have Sucker for Pain, which is the last story obviously, which is a story about longing, love. There's a bit of a forbidden tension going on in here, and witches and vampires. And it was so good yet again. I loved it. Great story, great ending. That's both these collections. I'm very excited to read the Grimm Tales too. I'm gonna read them hopefully this month, maybe even. I absolutely love fairy tales, so I absolutely loved these stories. There's also an artwork for each story, and we all know that I love art because I'm so artistic. So if you like art, you will like these artworks too. And then last but not least is Float Plan by Trish Dollar. I was bawling, I was not doing well, I related to a few of the characters. And this is also a book where I have to tell you, you need to check trigger warnings because this book includes yourself. So this story is about Anna, whose fiance himself, she now feels lots of guilt, pain, is really sad, and is trying to come out of this hole that she's in right now after all this grieving and everything that happened to her. And before everything happened, they had planned to go on a sailing trip together, and so Anna now decides to go on the sailing trip by herself to, I guess, say goodbye to that chapter in her life and heal. She obviously doesn't know how to sail. That was usually her fiance's job, so she meets this guy named Kian. Kian knows how to sail, but he has also had some really traumatic things happen to him in his life that turned everything upside down and had him take a completely new path. And over the course of the book, both of them help each other heal. There is an underlining very, very slow, very late romance plotline. This is more of a woman's fiction book that, yeah, made you bawl your eyes out, especially because of the emotions that Anna is feeling. I also just want to say that if you don't want to read about religion, specifically Christianity, I'm not really sure if you should read this because there's a very, 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 very small subplot line pretty much at the end of the book about Keen with religion and faith. And if you don't want to read about that, then I wouldn't read this in my opinion, just because, yeah, that's my only comment about this book. Yeah, that is my last 5-star read of this year. I meant last year. We're already in 2023. It's already the 4th. But yeah, I still hope you got some recommendations from this video. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all have a great day, evening, nighttime, morning, whatever time zone you're in. If you're enjoying yourself, go read a book. And yes, you already know which books I'm going to tell you to read. Any of the books I just mentioned, okay? Again, thank you all for watching this video. Have a great day. Happy reading and see you next time.